I said in the explain video, what I want to avoid is the impression that I'm preferring one simulator over the other. You can imagine that I've bought both simulators, so I like both simulators. That's why I bought both of them, and I don't think that one simulator is better than the other. If you take a look at certain points, at certain aspects of the simulator, of course one is better than the other, but overall they both have their advantages, they both have their disadvantages, and you will have to decide for yourself which one is better. I'm just doing these videos to give you an impression of the simulators, so that you maybe you can better decide which simulator is better suited for your needs. I'm always getting asked why I am not doing any prepared videos. Well, the main reason is that I don't own prepared. Oh, now it's raining. Okay. And I've taken a lot of looks at prepared, and I don't think that it's a... I just wonder why it always... Well, I'm not saying that it's bad, but I think the problem with prepared is that it is still is FSX, you know. It still is the same engine. It has the same problems with certain things, with memory management, and of course it is an optimized version of FSX, but it still is FSX, and that's what I don't like about prepared. I mean, if I would have to decide whether to buy FSX or prepared, I would probably go for prepared, but in the end you end up with FSX again, and you end up with the same problems, and yeah, that's the problem, I think. So that's why I'm not covering prepared yet. There's someone in the channel asking why he keeps on getting out of memory errors. Well, here's one piece of advice I have for you. Do you have your, or how big is your texture, maximum texture size in your FSX.CFG? Because that's something I had some big problems with, because I was thinking I kind of deleted my FSX.CFG because I switched to DirectX 10 scenery fixer, and then I naively thought that memory usage is better with the DirectX 10 with the scenery fixer, and I thought, well, now you can crank up the settings and no problem at all. And I desperately tried to do a long-haul flight with the PMDG 777 from one big add-on airport to the other, and I always ended up with out-of-memory errors. So I downloaded myself a little program called Process Explorer. It is freeware. You can switch it on parallel to FSX, and you can take a look how much memory your FSX is using. And as soon as this approaches, I think it's 4 gigabytes, right? Just correct me if I'm wrong. But as soon as it approaches that, you probably run into out-of-memory errors. And I was running into out-of-memory errors all the time. So I reduced the texture size. I didn't want to, but I had to. And I reduced the texture size to 1024. and from there on it worked. I didn't have any more out of memory add-ons. I would love to have the 4K textures and everything, but you know what, I've read through a lot of boards and they all say that the difference is not that big. I mean, you have the choice having a perfectly crisp, detailed looking airplane or cockpit, or out of memory and out of memory errors, or the other way around. I mean, if you're not using big add-on airports, if you're not using add-ons like FTX Global, all that stuff, maybe you will not run into out of memory errors with the stock FSX, but when you run big add-ons like PMDG planes, add-on airports like Frankfurt, New York, like those big add-on airports, and you fly from one big add-on airport to the other, maybe you will run into out of memory errors, or most probably you will run into out of memory errors. So that's a big problem. And you know, speaking of that, I'm just turning to the topic that I want to cover here. When you go for FSX, when you really want to go for FSX, when you say, okay, X-plane's nice, but there are more add-on planes for FSX, I want to go FSX, so that's perfectly understandable for me. But be aware that you will spend a lot of time optimizing FSX, tweaking FSX, and you know, every time I reinstall FSX, every time I try something new, I swear to God, I always end up in front of the computer at the end of the day, and I'm just cursing, and I literally, I could throw FSX into a corner of the room and leave it there forever. But the thing is, when you finally have FSX up and running smoothly, you have a pretty good simulator. And one other thing you have to bear in mind is that don't think that when you have a superb rig, like the best processor that is out there, the best graphics card, whatever, don't think that you will be able to run FSX smoothly. Okay? There is no computer on this world that can run FSX smoothly when it is totally or without a crash to desktop, with all the settings totally cranked up. So bear that in mind. FSX is an old piece of software, and it has its quirks. And yeah, it's not made for it's not really made for the new hardware technology, so bear that in mind when you want to install and go for FSX. So back to topic, I'd say, or we are at topic, but there's something I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the what I wanted to show you is that the scenery here is very accurate. There is the Intal Autobahn going beneath us. There is this regional street here going up there. You can follow it. So just or this is the train track. I think this is the train track. Yeah, it is. And so this is what I wanted to show you, that you can do VFR flight with FSX. You can do it with X-plane, with the scenery that I've shown you, and you can do it with you can do it with both simulators, I guess. But the difference is the FSX I'm running here is the stock FSX with add-ons. So that's what I wanted to show you. The fact that you will have to invest some money into FSX to have a decent looking simulator. So we are here. We are approximately at Kundl. That's a city that I've shown you in Explain as well. So the cities are, as in FSX, are pretty accurate. And this bigger city up here is Vögel, and there we will do a right turn and head over to into the valley that heads to St. Johann. What I just noticed is that this is I don't know if it's depending on the weather, but you can see that the colors are not as vivid as in Explain. But that's just a setting you can. I think that's something you can change. That's not simulator dependent. Okay. So we are now almost at Vögel, and we will head over into this valley here. And we will see if we can follow the road, just like we did in Explain. One thing that I'm really missing in Explain, I don't know if there are any good add-ons available yet. One thing I'm really missing is a good and decent traffic add-on. That's something I'm really missing in Explain, because I think that a good traffic add-on adds so much immersion to the simulator, because when you're at a big airport and you see all the airliners standing there, from the regional airlines to the international ones, and it just gives you so much immersion into the simulator. That's what I miss at Explain. I think you can have, there is some traffic add-on, but maybe you can shed some light on how good it is and how well it simulates the traffic. So there's a question here whether Ultimate Terrain is hard on the performance, but in my opinion I don't see any significant performance impact. Even with FTX Global I don't see any significant performance impact. They say that with those add-ons you can calculate about 1 or 2 frames less compared to stock FSX. So I think that's more than acceptable. So we are turning now into this valley. You can see this is the Lofere Bundesstraße going into this valley. So we'll follow this road now.